Hi, Easy here. Welcome to a starter build theorycraft for Path of Exile Legion. This will be my starter build for 3.7, and I'll go over some of the decisions and considerations I had whenever I was coming up with this build, and the reason why I decided to choose Blade Vortex over some of the newer, spicier offerings that Legion brings. So, the main thing that I like to consider for a starter is its base strength, and I really like builds that I can put together with just life and resistance gear and still be able to complete yellow maps and above. And that usually means that I'm gonna have to use really powerful mechanics or really powerful skills that are usually meta and expensive to gear for. But the reason why I'm using Blade Vortex is because of its consistency. Um, I bel Blade Vortex has always been strong and always been extremely powerful, especially not only in the early point of the league, but also with high amounts of gear investment, such as deep delving. And there's a lot of mechanics that go into making Blade Vortex strong. So no matter what I do with my gear, Blade Vortex will always be able to carry me throughout leveling and throughout maps. But the main downside of Blade Vortex is the fact that you have to cast it, and the fact that you have to keep it up, and the fact that you have to constantly get skill duration and try to go for increased duration on your helm and stuff like that, just so that it feels better than than it actually does. Because Blade Vortex really sucks in terms of the feel of the skill. And that's the reason why we're pairing up Blade Vortex with a newer skill, well, not new, but newly reworked skill of Cyclone. Cyclone recently got a channeling tag, which means that it's going to be able to support cast wall channeling. And with cast wall channeling, we can use Blade Vortex and constantly have 10 stacks of channeling, 10 stacks of Blade Vortex while we move around the map. So it's basically taking a Cyclone, which is a whirlwind mechanic that everyone knows from action RPGs, and making it extremely strong just baseline with Blade Vortex. And you might say, why not just play physical Cyclone and just go with that? Well, the main reason is because I like to be a little original, and I figured if everyone's going for physical Cyclone Slayers, then the gear for those are going to be pretty competitive, and that's not really what I want from my starter. Also, being able to utilize Energy Shield and Mana, as well as some really strong defensive bonuses overall from Trickster, is going to be really useful. And the main thing with a League starter is usually you just want to stay alive and you just want to start getting into maps as quick as possible. And I know how to play my Trickster. I know how to build for it. I know how to level it. I don't know how to build and level for something like a Duelist or Marauder yet. So I'm going to put that aside for later, like maybe a week down the line into the league. So in the beginning, I'm going to try using a Trickster with cast wall channeling on Cyclone to proc my Blade Vortexes and use the scaling on my Blade Vortex to really just get through maps as quick as possible and start getting some currency to get my builds going in the future. So that's the reason why I'm choosing Blade Vortex. It's a little boring, but it is tried and tested. So I'm very confident that it will be a strong starter. Let's see how I go about making it possible. One of the first things that you might notice is the fact that I'm using Mind Over Matter and Eldritch Battery. And you might say, well, Energy Shields got nerfed, why are you using Eldritch Battery? The main reason why is because of the fact that regardless of how much Energy Shield got nerfed, a lot of its nerfs came from the top end, meaning all of the gear that were crafted using fossil and all of the synthesized gear, all of those energy shield gear with like 1000 plus ES on your chest and things like that, those aren't really attainable early on, and they're not really what we're basing our character on. What I did is just put on some yellow gear from this list of rares from where'd it go? From Path of Building. All of these are just regular gear with life and a little bit of energy shield. So they're energy shield bases with like tier 3 lives on them. So it's very much obtainable. There's I don't think it's going to be difficult at all to get these kind of gear, especially with just couple alks or alterations. And that alone gives me about 5,000 health and 2,500 energy shield, which is more than enough to use as my mana base. And remember, I'm using Cyclone, so I'm not going to be consuming any mana whatsoever, and to use it as a buffer for my Mind Over Matter. So while we only have 5,000 HP, we're effectively looking at about 7,000 worth of effective HP, especially because we also get Life Leech, which is something that's very, I think, pretty cool about this build, is that we get Life Leech from Blood Drinker, so that we can leech using Cyclone. And while Cyclone doesn't do that much damage, it's still enough to get our leech going. And we also get Energy Shield Leech, so that we can always keep up our Energy Shield to buffer for our Mind Over Matter through Energy Leech. And Energy Leech also supports Cyclone as well, interestingly enough. So a lot of our build, a lot of our damage is going to come from Blade Vortex, but that doesn't mean that Cyclone is not going to be doing any damage either. It's probably like about 5% of what Blade Vortex would do, but you really don't need that much to clear trash and smaller mobs that you don't need to go on top of with Blade Vortex for. So our map clear is going to be pretty crazy, and our single target is going to be pretty crazy as well because of how strong Blade Vortex is. I give a lot of leeway, especially this is a level 100 tree. I went ahead and that is not what the okay. I went ahead and removed all of the unnecessary jewel sockets that I might not need early on, because jewels are going to be pretty expensive this league. And even with 114 points, which is about level 93, which is very easy to get in less than a week, I have a pretty solid tree with a lot of health, a lot of energy shield, pretty decent amount of resistance. I don't have any. I think I have like 40% all res on all my gear combined, which is nothing considering I have all of the slot filled, and just a little flask, and we're already reaching 900k for regular bosses, and then 500k, so half a mil for Shaper and Uber Elders. So that's a lot of damage that's coming from having basically no gear. All of this is just regular gear. The only uniques that I'm using is Himsaro, which is going to be very cheap, as always, and Atziri's Promise, which is also going to be very cheap. They're usually a chaos only after a week. So this is what I would say is a truly budget build with a lot of strong defensive mechanics, such as Life Leech, Energy Shield Leech, as well as Mind Over Matter, and the ability to reserve all of our mana for something like Hatred / Zealotry, Herald of Fury and Herald of Ash. The extra minions from Herald of Fury really help out with some surviving the melee range, because they can aggro the bosses as well. And things like cast 1 damage taken Vortex with Cold Snap, so that we can always generate some sort of slow field for enemies to fall into, so that we can always kite them around if we need it, as well as a Stormbrand with a Curse for Assassin's Mark. That's whatever you want it to be, whatever curse. So there's a lot of bases that we're covering. I need to get rid of Arcane Surge because that's not going to work with Mind Over Eldritch Battery. But yeah, you can see like there's a lot of synergies that are going on in this, and I really do think it's going to be a strong build. What we're doing to scale our Blade Vortex damage is we have a Fist Lightning early on in the league. That's 50% converted to lightning, and then we're using Himsaros, which are also pretty easy to get in the league, which converts 50% to cold damage. So the conversion is very simple. We're focusing on elemental damage, but we also get a ton of chaos damage just for being Trickster. So while it's not gonna seem like I put into a lot of while there's not much that I actually put into my gear, we're getting a lot of return out of a lot of the things like Harness the Void, Atziri's Flask, Force Shaper. All of these small things really add up to boost our damage when we don't actually have any gear. So we're going with a simple staff, abusing the stupidly strong Serpent Stance cluster node right here, and I really do think this is going to be a strong starter, and I'll be playing this from day one tomorrow, whenever Legion goes live. So if you guys want to see the build in action, see how I level it up, you can feel free to stop by on stream. This tree is available on my Twitch page, as well as I'll link it down below. So feel free to take a look at it. I have leveling tree nodes for you guys to use. So if you guys have any questions about it, please let me know. Gearing is really easy. Skills are really easy. And passive trees really easy. Oh, by the way, it's a 5 link, so there's a lot more room to grow. Well, anyways, thank you guys for tuning into this theorycraft. I'll let you know if it actually works out. I hope it does. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. Take care.